My name's Clay. I'm coming to you here from the beautiful mountains of New Mexico. I want to give you a brief shot of where I'm at right now. Just immaculate beauty everywhere. So I want to talk a little bit today about the cycles of time and what we refer to as the precession of equinoxes. In the Mayan tradition they call them baktuns. In the Hindu tradition they refer to them as yugas. But just like we map cycles of time here on Earth, for example, one revolution around our sun we call 1 year, or 365.71 days. One rotation of the Earth is equal to 1 day, or 24 hours. So we use these planetary and celestial cycles of time as methods of mapping time here on Earth. But there are larger cycles of time that we perhaps are not aware of because they take a long time to evolve. For example, the precession of the equinoxes is 25,771 years, and the precession of the equinoxes is the wobble that the axis of our Earth takes, and for one full revolution of that wobble takes 25,771 years, and we are just now completing one of those cycles of time where we're moving from the age where our axis is pointing into the constellation Pisces to the constellation Aquarius. And so this has a lot of significance for us here on Earth and elsewhere in the universe, just because of the nature of time and the nature of human evolution and how the two are interwoven. In the Hindu tradition, the cycles of time are charted in what are called yugas, or ages. In the Mayan tradition, they're referred to as baktuns. But many of these cycles of time are converging right now, where we are entering a new age of knowing and entering a new period of human evolution where we are going to become something greater than human, where human is more or less the exoskeleton that we are shedding and becoming something much greater. And so these cycles of time are very significant, especially in the times that we live in now. If this was 100 or 1,000 years ago, it might not be as significant to their period of time as it is now, but because of the nature of time and how many cycles are converging right now, it is of particular importance to understand the cycles of time and how they affect human consciousness. So I want to talk a little bit about that. The Mayans refer to this period of time as the end of time, which is a period of 7 to 8 years, of which started in 2007 and will end in 2015. A lot of people place particular significance on the date December 21st, 2012, but the Mayans don't see the specificity of time as being that particular. This shift that we're in the midst of right now will complete anywhere in the time of 2007 to 2015. A lot of people, I feel, in the conscious community, I felt kind of a resonance of disappointment or kind of a deflation type feeling within the spiritual community after December 21st, when nothing happened and no significant world events occurred, when this is a really great lesson for anybody who is spiritually adept to persevere and to push forward and to have patience in this evolution of consciousness. Another cycle of time that's of particular significance is mapping our solar system in relation to the equatorial plane of the galaxy. So if this is the equatorial plane, that which, if you're looking at our galaxy from a side view, it would look kind of like a flat line with kind of a lump in the center. But our solar system traverses on much like a sine wave, dipping above and below the equatorial plane. And in the Hindu tradition, the positioning of our solar system in relation to the equatorial plane is of direct implications, and it impacts our consciousness in a very real way. We're in a place where our solar system is just now penetrating the photon belt, or the equatorial plane of the galaxy. And this is, in ancient traditions, this was a very important time. This is a time where we're being flooded and inundated with light and information that comes as a pulse from the center of the galaxy. In the Mayan tradition, the galaxy was not treated as a thing, not as a physical thing, but as a representation of consciousness. And the summation of this consciousness in the Mayan tradition was referred to as the Hunab Ku. And the Hunab Ku is, for lack of a better word, awakening within itself and becoming self-aware. So this shift that we're experiencing here on Earth is not just occurring on Earth. In fact, the whole entire universe is going through an ascension process. I also want to talk a little bit about dimensions themselves, and particularly the partitioning of dimensions and how they're segregated in the universe. My understanding of this is best rendered through the metaphor of music, because of the nature of dimensions and how the chromatic scale and how music is organized are very much alike. If you take one pitch, one frequency, let's take the key of A, for example. In between the key of A and the key of B, while on the piano it's just the difference of two keys, vibrationally there are undertones and overtones of each key. There are 3 overtones of a key and 3 undertones of each key. So there are varying degrees of vibration for one frequency that the human ear is capable of picking up. So if you take that same premise and apply it to dimensions, we here inhabit the 3rd dimension of Earth, but we are ascending through various overtones of the 3rd dimension and various undertones of the 4th dimension. So which dimension you occupy is subject to your frequency and what frequency you're resonating with. Some people are inhabiting more of the fourth dimension now, as opposed to the 3rd dimension. Some people are rigidly locked in the 3rd dimension, unassumingly thinking that, you know, the 3rd dimensional reality is really all that exists, when really we are hyperdimensional beings capable of traversing interdimensionally. And so I think just having a rudimentary understanding of dimensions and how they work in the universe, and the way that they are, I would say divided, but that would be entirely accurate, because they're all fundamentally overlapping one another, but the way that they are partitioned, and the fact that we as hyperdimensional creatures can choose which dimension we inhabit at any one time. And we're living in a time where more and more people are choosing to inhabit higher and higher frequencies. And a lot of this is due to the pulses that are coming from the center of our galaxy. And individuals who are coming to this planet at this particular period to take it upon themselves to share this kind of information and to disseminate truth on a planet that has been so rigidly stuck in a rut, an evolutionary rut, so to speak. Another analogy I'd like to present here is if you think about the binary code that this computer uses. This computer is using notations all based on zeros and ones to make up algorithms, to create internet programs, to create this very video blog that I'm creating here. And all of this was created just by simple zeros and ones. If you take the codons of our DNA, the 4 codons, 4 basic codons within our DNA are creating the human experience, which is really dynamic and complex. And if you could think of just adding one more codon to that sequence, how much that would expand the human experience, and how much that would change our reality and the way that we perceive it. And this is really what's occurring right now, is our DNA is undergoing a rapid evolution where what scientists refer to as junk DNA, or we unknowingly call it that because we just don't know what it's for, but it's a dormant aspect of our DNA, our current DNA, that is reawakening with these light codes that we're being inundated with from elsewhere in the galaxy. And this is a really important thing to understand, because the DNA is the lattice in which all of our experience is hung. And if that lattice is evolving and allowing for a wider breadth of experience, then it would make perfect sense that we want to be aware of this and to utilize this information to put ourselves in the position to where we can evolve most rapidly. I'm sorry, there's so many bugs out here, but I'm going to try to finish this. So our DNA, which are ultimately tiny little fibers of light codes, are reactivating, and were intended to activate at certain periods. People within the conscious community might wonder, why don't my parents understand these kind of things, and why do some of my friends not get this? And the answer is because not everybody's DNA is coded to awaken at this period. It's not everybody's purpose to come here and to actively participate in the ascension process. Some people came here simply to observe. I often use the analogy of a play, and qualitatively the audience is every bit as important as the actors, and you wouldn't have a play without an audience, and you wouldn't have an audience without a play, and so each part are mutually exclusive and require one another. The drama that's unfolding here on Earth, the play, you could say, the illusion of reality, is choosing to awaken within itself right now, and it's going to be a huge surrendering test for a lot of us to hold space with those who are choosing to remain in denser frequencies and to remain within the old illusion. But the fact of the matter is that illusion is falling away very quickly, and the more we can place ourselves within our truths and within our center and within our core, the greater impact that we can have on those around us. Because the truth is, we're not quite what we seem. We seem like tactile, physical, kind of biochemical computers, which in a sense we are, but we're much more than what we just see. With this physical body is a product of our energetic structure, and it's that energetic structure that's most important to us right now, because as that core expands, so too does how we manifest in the world. And humans are naturally hyperdimensional. All the ancient scrolls tell us this. The Vedas of India and the Emerald Tablets and the Sumerian text, and even parts of the Bible refer to us as a soul. It's not that you have a soul, you are a soul. You just happen to have a body at this current period in time. And so on my journey, it's been a very necessary thing to understand what it is that animates me, and what it is that is beyond my physical, visceral body. So these are just a few of the thoughts I've had lately. There are implications within the kind of geopolitical arena that are shifting, but that is due to the inundation of light and vibration and frequency that we're being bombarded with here on Earth. A lot of this is going to manifest as, increasing chaos in geopolitical relations and transnational relations across the globe. But we're all one human tribe here, and we have the choice to act that way, and to see everything as not in opposition to itself, but as fundamentally connected with each other and forever in unison, because we are on a very verifiable and even scientific level connected. Quantum mechanics is showing us this more and more every day, of our fundamental connection and interrelatedness to our environment, that the more you try to describe a isolated system within a grander operating system, the harder it becomes to describe the behavior of just one system. Take, for example, myself or any one human. Try and describe the behavior of just one human. The more you try to do that, the harder it becomes, because the more you have to describe the environment in which that human interacts in. And the more you describe the environment interacts in, the more interrelated that human becomes with its environment. So to really describe, any one isolated system becomes a very difficult thing, because it's really an illusion. There is no isolation. You have never been isolated from the universe. You are fundamentally a part of that, could never turn away from it, and forever in unison with the universe as a part and parcel of it. And so these are kind of the thoughts that I've been having lately, and I'll do a future video of kind of the political implications of this, and how I see our political structures and social institutions morphing with this change. Because when this realization and this evolution of consciousness bubbles and pops on the surface of the collective awareness, at that point we will be endowed with the responsibility of completely redefining science, religion, sociology, psychology, our true history. We will have to rewrite all of the major institutions that we have created for thousands of years, because the institutions that we have created now were based on a false premise that we are all separate humans, and that the only connection that we have is, the ones that we utter. And really, the connections that we share as a human tribe are much more subtle and all-pervading than we could have ever realized. And to me, that's a reason for disseminating truth, whether that be through video blogs or simply talking with people around you. And just the more I find in my own journey, the more I rid myself of darker aspects, or perhaps less preferable aspects, the more I can turn my attention to those, the more they kind of just scatter like roaches. And the same is true of individuals in upper echelons of government and political structures today. The more we shine the light within that, the more they just scatter, and there will definitely, I feel personally, that we are quickly approaching a time where we as a species will have a choice of how we want to dictate ourselves in this next age of knowing, in this next age of an enlightened species here on Earth. Because the opportunities that we have now have never been so close at our fingertips to really seize and make our own. And I'm so honored every day I wake up, and so blessed to be a part of this. And one of my family friends yesterday asked me, and it's a great question. She said, "How do you remain so patient in a world that just seemingly opposes everything they're saying? And I thought that was a great question, and I had to think about it for a second, but my patience comes from individuals like me that I see every day who are verifying my experience through their actions and going out into the world and disseminating their truth, whatever that may be. And I think that's really the core of the origin of my patience in this, is knowing that I am certainly not alone in this, and that there are millions of individuals within my generation and older and younger generations who are taking change seriously and not relying on change out here, because change isn't going to come from out here. The change is a very intimate and personal journey with ourselves, and the more we take that seriously, and the more we really place our eggs in that basket of true change coming from the inside, the quicker this is going to occur, and the greater the benefits of this change are really going to be for all creatures, not just for a small portion or a small percentage of individuals, but for every human on Earth.